Hello, I'm Mauricio José Suarez, and this is From the Outside. A young Latino working woman has unexpectedly become the Democratic candidate for the 14th District of New York, and all of a sudden all hell broke loose and everybody's watching. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was responsible for a huge upset in her party primaries, and she has done it while saying she is a Democratic Socialist. Besides, of course, being a woman and 28 and of color. This is a problem because in the United States, people confuse communism, an ideology developed by Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, and Vladimir Lenin in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, with modern democratic socialism or social democracy, which came to be after World War II. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is not talking about this, or this, or this. She is rather talking about this, and this, and this. Democratic socialism is precisely the reaction of many left-wing people to the horrors of the Soviet Union after World War II.
Demokratisk socialism, med stolthet och med glädje. Jag blev det när jag for omkring i Indien och såg den fruktansvärda fattigdomen, fast en del var oerhört rika. När jag for runt och såg en ännu mer förnedrande fattigdom på sätt och vis i Förenta Staterna. När jag som mycket ung kom öga med öga med kommunismens ofrihet och förtryck och människoförföljelse i kommuniststaterna. När jag kom till nazisternas koncentrationsläger och fick se dödslistorna på socialdemokrater och fackföreningar.
Socialism in the early 19th century was born out of the horrible conditions of the new working class in the Industrial Revolution. Many people thought there should be more justice, more chances at equality. Maybe the 16-hour, 7-day work week was a little bit too much. Maybe it was not a good idea to hire 8-year-old kids to work as coal miners. Maybe this new world of industry and technology could be less unfair, less oblivious to the plight of the poor, less predatory on the weakest. Many different ideas and developments were born within the general frame of socialism in the past 200 years. One of them was Marxist Communism. They believed that taking businesses away from private hands and turning them into common property managed by a one-party state in a dictatorship of the proletariat with no democracy, with no freedoms, everything in the service of the party and the ideas, this would somehow magically bring wealth, happiness and prosperity for all. Well, it didn't. In practice, it didn't perform as advertised, even though in theory it was pretty attractive. Democratic socialism is not Marxism. You can see democratic socialism at work in most West European countries in some form or other. Socialist candidates have gone to elections, they have won elections, they have established socialist policies and institutions that even the right wing, when it comes into power in a democratic free play of ideas, does not dare to touch. Oh, they'd love to. They'd love to privatize healthcare in the United Kingdom, the mythical NHS, or in Spain. They'd love to privatize education and roll back women's rights and equal marriage and minorities' rights, but they don't dare to. Their own voters would object. Those good socialist things are now part of the landscape. They belong to everyone, and people want to keep them even when they want to change some things. As an aside, for example, a Spanish ex-senator from the very right-wing Popular Party, which is anything but popular, voted against equal marriage in 2005 because it was her party's position. In 2015, she got married to her beloved girlfriend. Miriam and Nicola are today still a happy couple, thank you, socialism. Democratic socialism is about ends, not means. It upholds democracy, not authoritarianism. It upholds the market, but regulated just as we regulate any other interaction in society, from the quality of our water to motor vehicle traffic. And it does it to achieve a more fair, more humane society and make all people's lives better. And it has done it. To be free from the worries of healthcare costs is a good thing. Let's have a public healthcare system. You can still go to your private doctor if you wish to, but no one has to. Education betters people and societies. Can we afford it? Does it work? Yes, we can. Yes, it does. Well, then let's have public education. Can we do something about homelessness, about poverty, about lack of food? Let's do it. Yes, it means higher taxes for the richest, but it also means that the richest will get a better environment, workers that are more prepared, more healthy, less angry. And they can continue making money if they continue to pay their share, their fair share. Are some activities, some economic enterprises, better off if they're government owned? Well, then let's have some public investment in some areas, like Norway has done. Oil is the property of the Norwegian people, and that is the origin of the prosperity that Norway has today, when it was a very poor country not so long ago. These are the 10 happiest countries in the world, according to the World Economic Forum, which is not a left-wing organization. All of them have had socialist governments, and all of them have some serious, solid socialist policies and institutions. All 10 of them have free universal health care. Well, not free because there is no free anything, but it's paid by all to the benefit of all, and everyone gets the best health care. All 10 countries have free universal health care. Education is free up to the university level in Finland, Norway, Denmark, and Sweden. New Zealand is moving towards a tuition-free university. Iceland charges $700 for registration, but tuition is free. Switzerland and the Netherlands charge about $2,000 to $2,500 a year for tuition. Australia has tuitions that go from $4,000 to $9,000 a year, but government subsidies can cut this in half for most careers. The outlier is Canada, which today has a huge student debt problem. A huge student debt problem. It has been said that communists' main dream was to end wealth and avoid people becoming wealthy. Democratic socialism is more about ending poverty and avoiding people from becoming poor. If people have a decent home, a decent wage, which leaves them surplus income to enjoy their free time, if you have health care and your children get a decent education which will allow them to make good if they so wish, you really don't care that much if someone makes a lot of money. You care much more when you're poor, when you're having a terrible salary, when you're afraid that any illness will wipe out your family, when education, higher education, the best education, is a luxury only a few can afford. In the general framework of democratic socialism, it is the results that count, not the means. Denmark, for instance, has no minimum wage, and some people say, well, shouldn't they have a minimum wage? It's very socialist to impose a minimum for the life of the people. But that is only a means. The Danish trade unions are very strong and well supervised, so they undertake collective bargaining from a very strong position. They don't need a state-imposed minimum wage because they get good wages. In the United States, the minimum wage is $7.25 per hour, while Danish workers get a minimum wage negotiated of about $11.70 per hour if you fiddle the numbers a lot, like some American economists do, but probably much closer to $16.35, which is more than double the United States. Other countries have minimum wages because it works for them. Australia, $10.50. The French, $10.70. It's not the means, it's the results. We want better wages for people. Do it the best way you can. In fact, the United States has a lot of socialist institutions, public schools, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, housing subsidies, and all of this is socialism. Unfortunately, without coordination and a reasonable overarching policy that could optimize the resources invested in the plethora of social programs that the country offers. The United States is already democratic socialist in a small way. Socialism is one approach to curb the excesses of capitalism while enjoying its advantages. Innovation, quick response to the changes in the economy, diversification. It's about, for instance, using tax money to better the lot of the poor instead of giving huge breaks to the rich. And this is probably why the likes of Mitch McConnell and Sean Hannity are very, very scared. Democratic socialism is not only doable, it has been done, it is being done, and it works. It's not perfect, nothing is, but it has created a higher standard of living for people who elected socialist governments in a continent that was ravaged by a horrible war from 1939 to 1945. From Europe, we see that some people in the Democratic Party are not happy either with the appearance of people such as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and others like her. They have a very arthritic, calcified institution that's comfortable even when you are in the opposition. Maybe, and this happens to left-wing parties all over the world, they have solutions for problems that don't exist anymore. They know how to repair a horse-drawn carriage, but there are no more horse-drawn carriages. We need people that can undertake the repair of a hybrid electric computerized car. The people that can offer new solutions, new approaches to challenges that also are new, such as Donald Trump, are young, and very probably they are outsiders. This is, of course, scary, but it's the only way to do it, unless you want to have the right wing in power forever.
Medicare for all, tuition-free public college, a federal jobs guarantee, and criminal justice reform. We can do it now. It doesn't take 100 years to do this. It takes political courage.
If you want to know what democratic socialists think and do, even if it is to criticize them, but to do it with knowledge, you might be interested in visiting the site of the Socialist International, an association of 153 democratic socialist parties from more than 100 countries, many of them in power now, many of them have been in power for a long time. Some of those parties shouldn't even be there, but that's another thing. The Progressive Alliance has also 140 members, many of them belong to the Socialist International. In a way, the Democratic Party has been a socialist always. In a way, the Republicans have, in a way, been socialists. But the Democrats even belong to the Progressive Alliance. But the fear of words has made it hard even to say you're a socialist, and to develop ideas that work for the United States based on the general aims of justice, equality, solidarity, and social responsibility, which are the basis of democratic socialism. By the way, this is not exactly what some people mean when they say the left in the United States, which only adds to the confusion. But precisely because of the confusion, we should all be learning that it's not words that matter, but it's the meaning of the words, the concepts, and the content. In that sense, democratic socialism is coming to America, so you'd better know what you're dealing with. Thank you very much.